the founder of Amazon. The desert sky of New Mexico stretched wide and endless on the day Jeffrey Preston Bezos came into the world. It was January 12, 1964, in Albuquerque, and the boy was born not into wealth or power but into the turbulence of young parents just beginning their lives. His mother, Jackie, was only a teenager, and his biological father left early, vanishing into the mist of forgotten past. Yet the boy would not remain unmoored. Jackie later married a Cuban immigrant named Miguel Mike Bezos, who had fled Havana as a teenager, carrying with him only resilience and a hunger to build something better. Mike adopted Jeffrey as his own son, and together they became a family, bound not by wealth but by perseverance. From an early age, Jeffrey showed signs of restless curiosity. He dismantled his crib as a toddler with a screwdriver, preferring exploration to sleep. In Houston, where his family later moved, he filled his childhood with experiments. Building gadgets, tinkering with parts, imagining possibilities beyond what he could see. His room became a laboratory. He set up alarms made of tin foil to keep siblings out, built small contraptions, and dreamed of space travel after being captivated by television broadcasts of Apollo missions. The family later moved to Miami, where Jeffrey excelled in school. His fascination with computers bloomed, and by the time he reached high school, he had launched his first small venture, an educational summer camp for younger kids called the Dream Institute. He was not yet an empire builder, but the seeds of enterprise were already there, innovation fueled by ambition. College brought him to Princeton University, where he majored in computer science and electrical engineering. He graduated in 1986, entering a world brimming with new possibilities. Wall Street was buzzing with finance and technology, and young Bezos carved a path through firms like Fattel, Bankers Trust, and eventually D.E. Shaw, where he rose quickly through the ranks. At D.E. Shaw, he encountered not only the power of financial algorithms but also the woman who would become his wife, Mackenzie Tuttle, a novelist with her own fierce spirit. By his early 30s, Bezos was well positioned for a lucrative future on Wall Street. Yet fate had a different script. In 1994, while browsing statistics on the new phenomenon called the Internet, he stumbled upon a fact that changed everything. Web usage was growing at 2,300% per year. To Bezos, this was no mere curiosity, it was a tidal wave. I knew I had to do something with this growth, he would later say. But what? He sat down and brainstormed products that might be sold online. Music, software, clothing. But one idea shone brightest: books. They were uniform, easy to ship, and numbered in the millions. No physical store could hold them all, but a digital store could. A catalog of infinite possibility. Bezos faced a choice that would define his life. To leave Wall Street meant abandoning security and wealth. To start an internet business in 1994, when most people barely understood the web, was a leap into darkness. But Bezos framed it with what he called his regret minimization framework. He imagined himself at 80, looking back. Would he regret trying and failing? No. Would he regret never trying at all? Absolutely. So he quit his job, packed his car, and drove across the country with Mackenzie. In the back seat lay a laptop, books of notes, and the outline of a dream. On that drive from New York to Seattle, Amazon was born not yet as the empire it would become, but as an idea pulsing in the heart of a man willing to risk everything. In a rented garage in Bellevue, Washington, Bezos and a handful of employees set up their office. They built desks out of wooden doors, frugal and symbolic of a company that would prize efficiency above luxury. There was no grandeur, only a vision. To create an online bookstore that offered more titles than any shop could imagine. They called it Cadabra at first, but quickly changed the name to Amazon, after the world's largest river, symbolizing scale and endless flow. The site went live in July 1995. Orders trickled in, then flooded. Within 30 days, Amazon had customers in all 50 states and 45 countries. Packages were shipped out, sometimes by hand, with Bezos himself driving books to the post office. He would ring a bell in the office each time an order came in, until the bell rang so often they had to disconnect it. Amazon grew at a pace that stunned the world. By 1997, it went public, and Bezos was hailed as a pioneer of the Internet age. Yet skepticism surrounded him. Wall Street analysts mocked the idea of an online bookstore, questioning whether people would ever abandon physical shops. Bezos ignored them. "It's always day one," he declared, meaning the company must always think like a startup. Hungry, restless, never complacent. Books were only the beginning. Soon Amazon expanded into music, movies, electronics, toys, clothing, anything that could be boxed and shipped. Its warehouses, once small, became massive fulfillment centers humming with conveyor belts and scanners. Bezos reinvested every dollar into growth, often leaving the company unprofitable for years. Critics scoffed, but Bezos had patience. He was not building for quarters, he was building for decades. He also understood technology not merely as a tool but as a foundation. Amazon was not just a store, it was a platform. From this insight came innovations that reshaped commerce. The Kindle e-reader turned digital books into a new era of reading. Amazon Prime, launched in 2005, promised fast delivery for a flat fee, creating customer loyalty unlike anything before. Alexa and Echo devices brought artificial intelligence into homes. And perhaps most transformative of all, Amazon Web Services, AWS, launched quietly to rent out Amazon's computing power, became the backbone of the Internet itself, hosting businesses, governments, and startups around the world. But behind the innovation was Bezos himself, driving the culture with relentless energy. His laugh, sharp and loud, echoed in meetings. His insistence on customer obsession became Amazon's creed. He pushed employees hard, often to exhaustion, demanding boldness and precision. Admirers saw vision and discipline, critics saw ruthlessness. Yet none could deny the results. By the 2010s, Amazon was no longer a bookstore. It was a marketplace, a technology giant, a global force. Its valuation soared, making Bezos the richest man on earth. From the garage in Bellevue to a corporate empire spanning continents, the journey seemed mythic, as though drawn from the same fabric as the heroes of old. And yet, Bezos' story did not stop with Earth. From childhood, he had dreamed of space, staring at the night sky with yearning. In 2000, quietly, he founded Blue Origin, a space exploration company with the motto Gradatim Ferociter, step by step, ferociously. For years, Blue Origin worked in secrecy, designing rockets not for spectacle but for the long game, reusable spacecraft, affordable journeys, the vision of millions living and working in space. It was not enough for Bezos to build an empire on Earth, he wanted to build a future among the stars. The 21st century dawned with Amazon no longer a fledgling bookstore but a rising giant, reshaping how people thought about shopping. Yet with success came storms. The dot-com bubble burst in the year 2000, sending countless internet companies into bankruptcy. Analysts predicted Amazon would collapse as well, dismissing it as a speculative dream. Its stock price plummeted, and skeptics declared its death inevitable. Jeff Bezos did not waver. He wrote to shareholders with calm defiance, "We're not afraid to be misunderstood for long periods of time." He doubled down on long-term vision, insisting Amazon would continue to invest in customers, logistics, and technology rather than chasing quick profits. The critics sneered, but slowly the strategy proved right. As weaker companies vanished, Amazon endured. The key lay in Bezos' philosophy of customer obsession. Every decision began with the question, what will most benefit the customer? Profits were secondary. Amazon spent millions building vast fulfillment centers in places few had heard of, connected by complex webs of trucks, planes, and algorithms. Orders that once took weeks now arrived in days, then in hours. The company's speed became its weapon, and Prime, with its promise of two-day delivery, turned customers into loyal believers. But it was not just shipping. Bezos saw Amazon as a technology company disguised as a retailer. Behind the website, engineers built systems capable of tracking inventory, predicting demand, and recommending products tailored to each shopper. The customers who bought this also bought. Feature was not just a gimmick, it was a revolution in personalized shopping. The Kindle was another leap. Launched in 2007, it put thousands of books into a slim device, allowing readers to carry entire libraries in their hands. Traditional publishers resisted, but Bezos pushed forward, declaring that readers, not gatekeepers, should decide the future of books. The Kindle became an icon, and once again Amazon reshaped an industry. And then came AWS, Amazon Web Services. What began as a side project to rent out Amazon's spare computing power became the invisible backbone of the Internet. Startups that once needed millions to build infrastructure could now launch with a credit card and a few clicks. Governments, corporations, and innovators all built upon AWS. The world did not always notice, but quietly, Amazon had become not just a retailer but the engine of the digital age. As the empire expanded, Bezos' own life transformed. The quiet man in a garage had become a global figure, praised and criticized in equal measure. He was called visionary, tyrant, genius, monopolist. He appeared on magazine covers, his bald head gleaming, his laughter sharp and infectious. Fortune crowned him the richest man alive, his net worth surpassing entire nations. Yet Bezos' focus rarely drifted from the long game. He reminded employees constantly, "It's always day one." By this he meant complacency was death. Amazon must forever behave like a startup, restless and inventive, hungry for the next frontier. To enforce this culture, he introduced quirky practices. Meetings began with silent reading of 6-page memos rather than PowerPoint slides, forcing clarity of thought. Empty chairs were left in rooms as symbols of the customer, reminding everyone whom they served. The culture was demanding, even brutal. Reports emerged of warehouses where workers raced against the clock, measured by algorithms, punished for slowing. Corporate employees spoke of sleepless nights and relentless targets. Critics accused Amazon of grinding people down in pursuit of efficiency. Admirers countered that such intensity was the price of greatness. Bezos himself acknowledged the strain but insisted the mission, to serve customers better and faster, justified the hardship. Amazon expanded into every corner of commerce. It bought Whole Foods, stepping into groceries. It launched Alexa and Echo, planting artificial intelligence in homes. It experimented with drones, cashierless stores, even healthcare. Its influence became so vast that governments scrutinized it for monopoly power. But Bezos remained unfazed, repeating his mantra. Focus on the customer, and everything else will follow. Yet even as Amazon conquered Earth, Bezos' eyes turned skyward. The dream of space that had captured him as a child never left. Blue Origin, his secretive company founded in 2000, began to step into light. Its motto, Gradatim Ferociter, step by step, ferociously reflected Bezos' philosophy. Unlike the flashy launches of competitors, Blue Origin worked quietly on reusable rockets, believing that lowering the cost of access to space was the first step toward millions living beyond Earth. In 2015, Blue Origin's New Shepard rocket flew to the edge of space and returned safely, its booster landing upright, a feat that seemed science fiction. The rarest of beasts, Bezos declared, a used rocket. For him, it was not just engineering, it was destiny. Earth, he argued, should be preserved as a garden, while heavy industry and humanity's expansion should move into space. It was a vision grander than any store, grander even than Amazon itself. Meanwhile, Bezos' personal life shifted. His marriage to Mackenzie, partner from the early days, ended in divorce in 2019, one of the most expensive in history. Yet the separation was amicable. She devoted herself to philanthropy, while he continued his twin pursuits of commerce and space. He grew more public, appearing at events with a new partner, his physique transformed from bookish to muscular, embodying the confidence of a man who had shaped the modern world. By 2021, Bezos stepped down as CEO of Amazon, handing the reins to Andy Jassy, the leader of AWS. He did not retire, but rather repositioned himself, focusing on Blue Origin, philanthropy, and long-term strategy. He remained Amazon's executive chairman, still its guiding presence. The man who had once packed books in a garage was now plotting humanity's expansion into the solar system. And yet, the story of Jeff Bezos is not only about wealth or rockets. It is about the relentless pursuit of vision. Where others saw obstacles, he saw opportunities. Where others feared risk, he calculated the long horizon. He was not always loved, but he was always formidable. His company changed how billions live, work, read, shop, and dream. Some see him as a titan of commerce, others as a warning of unchecked power. But none can deny his place in history. From Albuquerque to Princeton, from Wall Street to Seattle, from a garage to the stars, his path has been a modern epic. By the time Jeff Bezos stepped down as CEO, Amazon was no longer simply a company, it was an ecosystem. Its reach extended into groceries, cloud computing, entertainment, publishing, logistics, and artificial intelligence. Its name had become a verb, its logo a smile that stretched from A to Z, symbolizing that it sold everything. To many, Amazon was convenience made flesh, to others, it was a colossus looming over the economy. But to Bezos, it remained day one, forever unfinished, always beginning.
He often told the story of how he still received customer emails directly. He would forward them to his team with a single character, ? That question mark was more powerful than a paragraph. It meant, why is this customer unhappy? Why is this broken? Fix it. The people inside Amazon learned to fear the question mark, but it kept the company anchored in a principle that had guided it from the start. Customer obsession. As his wealth grew beyond imagination, past $100 billion, past $150 billion, Bezos became a symbol of inequality as well as innovation. Protesters accused Amazon of underpaying warehouse workers, of crushing small businesses, of dodging taxes. Lawmakers summoned him to testify, demanding answers about monopoly power. Bezos stood calm before them, insisting that Amazon's success was rooted not in domination, but in serving customers better than anyone else. He reminded them that the future was always earned, never given. His personal life also drew scrutiny. His transformation from quiet engineer to global icon was visible in every photograph. Where once he wore khakis and a shy smile, Now he strode in black vests and mirrored sunglasses, muscles broad, voice commanding. Some saw vanity, others reinvention. For Bezos, it was simply another evolution. The man who had risked everything for an idea had become comfortable with the stage he now occupied. One of the richest and most powerful individuals on Earth. Yet despite his empire, Bezos never abandoned the dream that had haunted him since boyhood: the stars. Blue Origin became his passion, consuming his energy and fortune. "I'm spending my lottery winnings from Amazon on space," he often said, as if Amazon were the prelude and space the true purpose. Blue Origin built New Shepard for tourism, promising ordinary people a glimpse beyond Earth's cradle. Then came New Glenn, a massive orbital rocket meant to rival the giants of aerospace. Step by step, ferociously, Blue Origin tested, failed, and tried again. Its competition with SpaceX captured headlines, but Bezos insisted the race was not about one company winning, but about humanity's survival. Earth, he argued, was fragile, a garden we must preserve by moving heavy industry into orbit. "We need to take the pressure off this planet," he declared, "so that our children's children's children can thrive." In July 2021, Bezos himself rode a rocket beyond the atmosphere. Clad in a blue flight suit, he and 3 others soared on a suborbital flight that lasted barely 11 minutes. Critics mocked it as a joyride of the rich, but to Bezos it was a glimpse of destiny. As he looked down upon the curve of Earth, the blackness of space beyond, he felt what astronauts call the overview effect, the sudden realization of Earth's fragility, its unity, its preciousness. "It changes you," he said afterward. "You see how tiny and beautiful our planet is, and you want to protect it." The image of Bezos, floating weightless, grinning broadly, became an emblem of a new age. To some it was excess, to others inspiration. But no one could deny that the boy who once dismantled his crib with a screwdriver had now touched the edge of the infinite. Meanwhile, Amazon itself marched on. Andy Jassy led as CEO, but Bezos remained executive chairman, guiding strategy and vision. He no longer handled the daily grind, but his presence was felt in every decision. He turned more of his attention to philanthropy, pledging billions for climate initiatives, education, and medical research. Critics argued he could give more, do more. Supporters praised his focus on long-term change rather than short-term charity. As the years passed, Bezos' legacy became clear. He had not merely built a store, he had built an architecture of modern life. To buy a book, to stream a movie, to ask Alexa a question, to run a website through AWS. These everyday actions bore his fingerprints. His influence was woven invisibly into billions of lives. But legacy is more than achievements. It is also the questions one leaves behind. Bezos' life raised many. How much power should one man or one company wield? Can convenience be too costly when it reshapes labor, privacy, and community? Can a dream of space justify the struggles endured by workers on Earth? These debates swirled around him, making his story not only that of triumph, but also of controversy. And yet, When future generations look back, they may see Bezos as something larger than a businessman. They may see him as the first of a new archetype, the spacefaring entrepreneur, the man who saw Earth as a chapter, not the book. His Amazon was vast, but it was only the engine. His vision stretched to colonies orbiting the sun, to millions living and working beyond Earth, to humanity becoming a spacefaring species. In that sense, Bezos' life mirrored the heroes of old. Like Odysseus, he was cunning. Like Prometheus, he brought fire to mankind, not literal flame, but the fire of technological transformation. Like Icarus, he risked flying too close to the sun, his wealth and ambition sparking both admiration and resentment. He was not flawless, not universally beloved, but neither were the heroes of myth. What mattered was that he dared, and in daring, changed the trajectory of human history. Imagine him now, older, reflecting on his path. He might remember the garage in Bellevue, the wooden doors turned into desks, the ringing bell of those first orders. He might recall the nights of doubt, when Amazon bled money and the world laughed. He might smile at the memory of customers unboxing their first Kindles, or engineers cheering as a rocket landed upright for the first time. Perhaps he would think of his grandfather, Lawrence Preston Guise, who once taught him on a Texas ranch that it's harder to be kind than clever, or of his mother who believed in him when no one else did, or of the young man on Wall Street walking away from certainty into the unknown, guided only by the desire to minimize regret. Bezos' story, in the end, is not just about Amazon. It is about choice. The choice to leap when others hesitate. The choice to endure criticism for the sake of vision. The choice to build not for today, but for tomorrow. For some, he will remain the symbol of monopoly, wealth, and power. For others, he will be remembered as the man who gave the world one-click shopping, cloud computing, and the dream of living among the stars. But for all, he will be a figure impossible to ignore. And so the novel of his life continues, even now, as Amazon grows and Blue Origin ascends. The boy who once stared at rockets on television has become the man who builds them. The entrepreneur who once sold books from a garage has become the architect of a global empire. The founder of Amazon is no longer merely a businessman. He is a character in humanity's unfolding epic. His story reminds us that the future is written not by those who wait, but by those who dare to act, to risk, to dream. And if history whispers his name centuries from now, it will not be only as Jeff Bezos, nor only as the richest man of his era. It will be as the founder who reshaped commerce, the dreamer who reached for the stars, the human being who turned vision into destiny, the founder of Amazon,